a very insightful discussion with Mr. Namakajo Frederick Derrick, and we are continuing with the topic of discussion: is the Uganda's land policy effective for economic development? We've had a very intensive discussion in the first session, and as we draw into this second session, we would like to alert the viewers that land indeed is a factor of production. We have various research, which has been conducted, one of which refers to the mutual effect of land distribution and economic development. The evidence referring to Africa, Asia, and Latin America. We have diverse references all over the world how best land can be utilized. The question of Uganda in the heart of Africa remains with the question of debate because of the different perspective of land ownership in Uganda that we had referred to when we were going for the break. And as a result, because of high competition, first of all, the population pressure, but yet with also some Ugandans who are aggressive to acquire land by all means, remains a challenging moment for Ugandans. And yet, also the government attempt to develop the infrastructure system remains with another hurdle. There are many projects that are stalling. That's what you've not yet talked about, because of the nature of the land law, which was incorporated and enacted under the Ugandan Constitution of 1995. We are still asking ourselves which way to go. We continue to face serious challenges, including land grabbing. Who grabs the land? Who has the power to do so? Not everybody should be encouraged to be grabbing land. It has resulted into an ending conflict, legal court battles. We also know yet that as we are intending to have land investment to utilize our land, there is also another serious question and be able to touch the button where we should touch, maybe to make our society a better society. Finally, as I will come our guest again, Mr. Frederick, you had reached on where we are handling case by case. And the Uganda question of land, I hear that you've never even, the government, yes, because when they say government, you are part of, those who pay the tax, that you have never finished to pay the usuro. The Uganda owes Uganda,
yes, true,
a lot of money unpaid. But there is an agitation that can't we have reforms? Can't we have reforms, especially which will enable the unutilized land, the absentee landlord challenge to be solved? Once again, you're welcome, Mr. Frederick. We need a better Uganda where land can produce wealth.
Yes, thank you once again, comrade, and we'll be back from the break. When you talk about the Uganda question,
the land question,
the Uganda land question, automatically you have to relate it now to the current term which everyone understands, which we call the Mairo land tenure question. Because everyone now is talking about Mairo land. Even His Excellency, the Fountain of Honor, is talking about the Mairo land. The Fountain of Honor is issuing directives in regarding to have Mairo land being affected, such as the Vivaja holders do not do what?
But before you go on, I have a controversial question.
Please.
Can't we have equitable distribution of land between, now the land goes back to government? It's a controversial
land.
The land, the law of Uganda is quite teasing. The land belongs to the citizens.
Yes.
But now we are having a challenge where some of our citizens, I'm not meaning those who have joined us, because we are having a Uganda challenge, another challenge, by the which I want the viewers to understand. Someone comes from Congo, comes as a refugee, finally gets land. Here, acquisition of land is very easy. But it's amid this where we are having citizens. I found that question in Bunyolo, where is it Wangali, where there is a refugee settlement over there. And the citizens...
The current Kakumiro district.
Yes, the current Kakumiro districts. You find that those who are coming as refugees, those who are coming from Sudan, they are getting land, big chunks of land, and under the refugee coverage, yet Ugandans, they don't have land. We need to,
let's first appreciate these two things. One, which land to be divided? Or which land to be shared amongst the people?
Traditional land.
Which traditional land?
In Ankole, in Bunyolo.
Do we have traditional land in Ankole?
Yeah.
We don't. We don't. The only would be land we have right now, which is perhaps held communally, that is that land now can be only found in the northern part of Uganda. Because for them, they have that concept of communal land ownership. And my dear, that's the reason as to why even the Segujas, the Akampumuza cannot just go to northern land and buy their land, because their land is held communally. That is the first thing you have to understand.
Wait a bit. I understand that there are some big wigs in government who have bought almost like all sub-counties in Acholi.
Even if they are buying it in Acholi, but it is a tug of war.
They have acquired land.
Yes, they have done so, but the way they are acquiring land in Central Region, the easing way, it is not the way they are acquiring land in Langmo and in Acholi. Why? Because here in Central Region, land is only owned by one person, that is me.
Case by case, we are still north.
Yes.
And you know there was serious demonstration. A rich man, the one who is in power here, goes to Acholi land, goes to West Nile or Lango, gets a whole place, comes back here Kampala, gets into that understanding with the Minister of Land, and then say, everybody who is here, you are a tenant. Begin to, plant park and be relocated elsewhere. How can we solve that challenge? It is a very big challenge.
You can't solve it if the people with the power are not willing to have it solved. Because who are the rich big people are you talking about who go to West Nile and have that land?
Well positioned in ministry.
Well positioned in Ministry of Land. In Ministry of Land. Who are the officers who are out even to ensure that the vision in the land policy, the one you talked about, come to pass? You talked about the vision and you said that this is a land. I mean, this is a good vision.
Yes,
a good vision.
A good one.
But if the people who are out to have it enforced lack the will, then there's no way you can have that solved. The only way is let people be patriotic. Let people have that will of having the laws enforced. If the land is held communally in the north, why would you go and just grab the land? Land in Karamojong areas, that is Moroto among others, Kotido areas, it is held perhaps 99% communally held. The difference is, it is very difficult to have 100 people of a particular clan in Moroto accept to sell to you land. Whereas in Uganda, where a person holds like 1 square mile, will just sell to you land.
There's a contradiction as you go through with us case by case. We are still dealing with the issue of land grabbing, and those who are especially participating in the economic activity of cattle rearing, the so-called balalo. And at a certain point, I was glad when I heard that the president had said, no, any mulalo, but the balalo, who goes and occupy land without the knowledge of the owners, should immediately be evicted. There was that kind of recommendation which looked to be a bit pro the natives. It looked to be pro-native, if at all it was taken care of. So now the challenging situation at hand, back to what now looks to be a harmonized position of the government concerning the land tenancy. You who comes and occupy land between a certain period of time, between 1 year to 12 years, whether you are a Mulal been rearing cows on that land, then finally maybe you end up constructing some wells to enable your cows, you construct maybe somewhere a toilet, you construct maybe a small hut, and then finally Mulal takes over the land. How can we ensure that? I mean, it's a contradiction. That's why I'm saying that it is still unresolved.
Now, by the way, before even overthinking about that, the ministry in charge of land is known as the Ministry of Land and Urban Development, right?
Yes.
It has the mandate of ensuring that the land is developed, or the areas are developed, right? The urban centers are developed. It goes back to the lack of planning. In Uganda, you have the National Planning Authority, NPA. And also back to districts, we have the physical planning authorities, the PPAs, which are having a mandate of ensuring that even before you constructing a house, first get a plan. The planning, the physical planning authority is not only found in Ruwero, is not only found in Kabarore, neither or other districts, but even in Kotidos are ought to be there. So the question is, what are the what is the efficacy? What is the role? Oh, have the PPAs, the physical planning authorities, or the national planning authority, have they done their role? The issue you're talking about of you constructing your house back in Kotido district, and the Muraro comes and takes over the land. Let us first go to the planning plan of the district. 2, of the ownership, who owns that particular piece of land.
It was communal.
It was communal.
And the Muraro is also for the communal.
And is also for communal. And by the way, they have their way of administrative structure and how they get justice. By that, they have that particular bit of it. All of us, we know that back to our communities, back to our tribes, there's that particular bit of hierarchy, even before coming to these secular laws.
I'm coming back to you, sir. Communal land.
Communal land.
Yes. Is owned by who?
The community of that particular area, not you just lives this area and you go and you say to him,
I come, the reason why there are those land grabbers, it is an unresolved legal framework on issue of land.
And we consider what we call the origin as you're determining the communal. What is your origin? A person in Kotido cannot go to Kabarore and claim that he's part of the community of Kabarore when it comes to land ownership. They know themselves. The only way how we need the country to come up is help those communals or help those people, that community, on how better to have that land solved, I mean the conflict solved in line with their ownership. Rather, not to wake up one morning and start abolishing tenures in Uganda.
I think there is something much more better as we are drawing toward the closure of our program that needs to be done in order to resolve that. Number one, for land owned by the community, the custodian should be that local government.
Which local government?
Because when you go to Kotido, there is a district local government. And the custodian of that land, what you are referring as a community, I have seen this, I'm giving a case study in Western Uganda, from the sub-region of Kigezi, from a sub-county where I was a sub-county chief. And it was very much, to the advantage of the community members. Those who were much more, use the word in quotes wiser, could come and say, this land is mine, and they connive with the same community members to begin to give testimony how their grandfathers, that land which is being referred as community, does not belong to the community, it belongs to the individual. And as a result, that land which is referred as community, of course, it was playing a role to enable the community socio-economic development. And maybe I'm just giving also an input into a discussion. There is something better that needs to be defined. One of the recommendations I gave that I share also with those who are in government is that all land that was initially referred as community, communal land, for purpose of helping the community, it was ideal, and I found it ideal, to be registered as a land which belongs to that community. But the custodian being the local government.
That's a recommendation.
Yes.
And I believe the concerned need to take note of that particular recommendation. Further, we are here mainly on the land policy, whether it is effective.
Whether it is effective to
for
drive
economic development of Uganda. Before even getting the closure of this particular session, when you talked about the vision of the national land policy.
Yes, a transformed Ugandan society through optimal use and management of land use resources for prosperous and industrial economy.
We have optimal use.
Optimal use,
we have management of land, resources for a prosperous and industrialized economy with a developed services sector.
Yes, sir.
And in ensuring that this particular vision does come to pass, there are various principles within that particular vision that they had to ensure that these things come to pass. And this is what I would wish to, as we come to the closure, that we analyze and see really if those particular principles have been really considered. One, we have what we call centrality of land sector.
Centrality.
Central sector or agricultural sector. And in simple terms, each and every sector you could think of, it is premised on land.
You are telling us of the principles. Yeah, go on.
Yes, it is premised on land. So we need to ask ourselves, have we utilized land to ensuring that we have good health sector? How have we utilized land in ensuring that we have good education sector?
That is the centrality of land sector.
Yeah, thank you.
We go on.
And two, we have the transformation of society. How have we transformed the society?
Using the available land.
Using the available land. All of us know that the land sector is the pillar or is a pillar for transformation and prosperity in our economy. Whenever we talk about land, whenever we talk about development or any economy, you're thinking about utilizing the land. Whenever you're thinking about agriculture, you're thinking about utilizing the land. So we need to, whenever even you talk about industrialization, even urbanization, you have to think about land. Thus, have we utilized the land in ensuring that the society is transformed? That is a question to the viewers.
Yes. What advisory remarks are you giving to the Ugandan citizens, especially in the process to acquire legitimately and stay comfortable in the land without squabbles, without conflicts? What do you advise them? That's important.
One, don't take your land to be vegetable. You know, in law we have that particular principle that land is not vegetable. That whenever you wake up one morning and you want to buy land, you just buy land even before making proper search. We have what we call search. So the recommendation is, you who is buying land, ensure that you're not buying vegetables from the market. You only go to the market Nakas and you buy dodo. Even you don't ask, is it from Kabale? By that, even Irish potato is better. When you're buying Irish potato, ask, is this from Kasese or Mbale? You get. So take due diligence. Do due diligence in ensuring what you're buying. And even a person selling, don't just sell for the purpose of getting money. We are not here for showbiz.
But people want money.
No, yes, people want money, but you can get money as a way of utilizing your land, but not selling off your land.
Not selling off your
We
land.
get the point.
Yes.
The main point is value the land you're having. We have many people who are selling land just for showbiz. Because they are seeing the so-called celebrities, the Zaris and the Anita Fabiolas on TVs. They think that also they got their money by selling the land they were owning or they inherited. Value your land. In valuing your land, it means that you come across a particular project which is so crucial in ensuring that you get a productive agenda of your particular land. So value the land. It is the only rich item as of now you could own in Uganda. And three, the three principles, you have the modernized agriculture.
Okay.
Let's forget about the traditional
Modernized
agriculture. We have the modernized agriculture. We have to ask ourselves.
Land.
On land. We have to ask ourselves, have we seen this particular principle come to pass? Or we are still somewhere? You know, when they came up with this particular land policy, they say that they are trying to shift an estimation of 65% of the peasants, because 65% of peasants were good with domestic agriculture. 65% they just grow their food to eat, meaning that there is no way they were utilizing the land for economic development. How better could they have utilized the land for economic development is to shift or to have the 65% as of the national policy, shift from peasantry or shift from domestic agriculture to commercial agriculture. So the question is, how are we having this particular principle coming to pass? Are we having almost 70% of farmers participating in commercial agriculture? That is the question you have to ask.
Yes, sir.
Any person who is there, any viewer, you're having your land. Are you utilizing your land for commercial purposes? Or you're only planting sweet potato to have your stomach settled? You're planting, you know, they have this concept. Let me plant cassava and beans. You get? Let me plant maize and sweet potato. So that from maize I could get some flour, and my season is done. I will eat my beans, I will eat my guineas, and I will eat my
Food
sweet
security.
potato.
That's
Food security. Yes, it is food security, but you have to be innovative. Do 50-50, domestic, agriculture, and commercial agriculture. That is what we can call the economic development. We cannot attain, or we cannot get that economic development if you're only considering or focusing on domestic violence. So that was a principle. So we need to ask ourselves, is it achieved?
Okay, go to another one, and then you give.
We have the protection of the environment, and now this is where you had hinted on. This is where you hinted about this particular topic.
Yes.
Protection of environment. We know environment is big.
Yes.
Even though we have the law on environment. Whenever I talk about environment, we are talking about wetlands, we are talking about natural resources, we are talking about minerals, we're talking about lakes, water bodies, among others. So how have we been able to stand firm and say, I will submit that the environment has been protected? You gave an example of having the so-called investors coming in and taking over wetlands. And have them destroyed under the name of constructing factories. But we have the guidelines under the National Environment Management Act. An example is if you're going to construct, or if you want to take over a wetland, you have to apply to a relevant body. Even the government has no right to issue a license. I mean, to issue a lease. Cannot issue a lease.
So what is your last word that you encourage the government and the citizens to ensure, as you've given this principle?
Yes, in brief, we have the planned human settlement, where we have the issue of settlement, and this has been a problem, a challenge in Uganda over years.
Yes, sir.
We have the Kakumiro issue when it comes to settlement. We have seen the land grabbing in Lusanja, people needing settlement. The so-called in Ankara where you talked about, so we have an entire bit. We have the land development itself. We have to see that land is being developed. But in brief, and this is the recommendation.
Yes.
The government of Uganda holds land in trust of the people of Uganda.
People. Yes, please.
And we call that the public trust doctrine. More so when it comes to natural resources and minerals. That is why I say that the government cannot give out a lease to investors or to any person. Rather, it can give a license allowing that person to operate, such as forest reserves. You have seen hotels in forest reserves.
Thank you
so let the government be so keen in ensuring that the public trust doctrine is preserved.
Thank you.
Let the authorities have the goodwill of enforcing these particular laws, so that the principles and the vision of the national land policy is observed and does come to pass. Thank you, viewers, and thank you, Smart Television.
Thank you, Mr. Derek Namakajo Frederick. You have discussed wonderfully this topic and given recommendation and insightful life experiences, especially in regard to the land utilization and management in our country, and even hinting on the factors that are related with the legal framework. Dear viewers, it has been a great moment to be with you. So thank you for being with Smart 24 Television, and we continue to believe that with respect to land, value your land, then we can have a better future for this country. With that, we just want to wish you a good night until we meet again in the point next time when we meet again. Thank you.